Hi there, I'm Josh. Together with my teammates Apuvra and Akriti, we have developed our capstone project, First and Last Mile Commute in the City of Chicago. You might be wondering what exactly we mean by first and last mile commute. Let's break it down. The first mile commute is defined as the distance someone has to travel from their home to the first point in their transit journey. Think traveling from your home to the closest bus stop. The last mile is very similar. It is the distance someone has to travel from the last stop to their final destination. This is easier said than done. So how did we land here? At the start of the project, my teammate Akriti shared her own transit woes. She was an intern this summer without a car and had to commute 20 minutes daily on foot to catch a bus. Needless to say, the summer heat and cost left much improvement to be desired. We decided to see if others had a similar experience. So, we looked around and started to talk to people. We used a survey and in-person interviews to collect a bank of qualitative data, later organized through affinity mapping to develop themes. Let's take a look at some of the themes that we found. The first one was cost. In order to bridge the first and last mile commute gap, they had to resort to expensive methods like Uber. People didn't like this. Comfort was another consideration. Weather, safety, and carrying goods to and from places was truly difficult on transit. Time. Now that was broken between traffic conditions and also thinking about how to make your transfer from a bus to a train, or maybe from a bus to an Uber or any other method. A surprise from our research was the last mile was just as critical as the first. A lot of people drive, but they hate driving in traffic and hate trying to find parking. So that has its challenges as well. So our key problem is the fact that the first and last mile commute is often the most difficult, time-consuming, and costly part of Chicagoans' daily routine. So what do we aim to do? We want to improve the efficiency, cost, and speed of commuting from destination to destination by making use of and expanding the current transportation infrastructure of Chicago and its outlying suburbs. We'll do this by deploying a network of autonomous vehicles as part of the public transportation system. And we want to integrate route logistics within the Ventra app, one app to do everything. Specifically, we'll utilize the Google Maps API, a parking integration, and autonomous ride hailing. We'll wrap all of that inside the current Ventra app that handles payment across multiple modes of transport in the city of Chicago now. There are two key things in this project. The first is the app, and the second is the car. Let's start with the car. So our research indicated that there are some factors that we have to consider with an autonomous vehicle. It has to be compact. It can only carry so many people. And by keeping it small, we can fit more of them in the city. It needs to be safe. It needs to be accessible to all riders. It has to be autonomous. That'll cut down on labor and increase efficiency. It needs to be electric so that we can be in a more sustainable world. And all the while, it has to be affordable. People have to use this daily. We discovered lots of facets of the car that needed to be considered, and I'm not going to explain every little detail here, but it was fascinating. The next key thing of this project was the app. So we started with the foundation of Google Maps and its excellent transit routing features. What we've added here is the option to select public transport, and then from there, the app offers you to call a CTA car, or you could resort to walking if you chose. Another key feature here to handle the last mile commute is being able to accept the nearest parking. So this will automatically find good parking within a reasonable distance to your final destination, and then allow you to call a CTA car to come pick you up. When the car arrives at your destination, you simply tap your phone on the car to unlock and confirm your ride. So we needed to test this with users. Since we couldn't develop a car, we decided to test our app idea. So we did this with scenarios. We tested this with some of our classmates. We used two different scenarios, one simulating the first mile and one simulating the last mile of the commute. Some of the findings that we unearthed were that people were concerned for their safety, and a lot of that stems from the fact that autonomous cars are new. In a similar vein, people worried about the implementation feasibility. Now, I think this is a valid concern, But autonomous cars are on the horizon. They're here. We need to start thinking about them now. Another thing people ask for is a ride splitting feature. Think about carpooling within Lyft and Waze today. We also asked people about their initial impressions to a system like this. Would this be something that they use? Overwhelmingly, this was a positive response. People mentioned that they thought it would reduce the effort required to plan their daily commute. They liked the fact that it could be environmentally sustainable, and most everyone thought that it would save them money. So we iterated. We started to develop ride-sharing features within the app, and we want to address the safety concerns with users by making sure they're comfortable in the car and that they know that this is a safe, well-tested system. So in conclusion, this is a huge problem and we've only scratched the surface. We think the city of Chicago is a perfect place to start and then be a model for the rest of the nation. Now, a key thing about this is it has to be a public service. That means it'll be regulated by the city of Chicago, managed by the city of Chicago, and hopefully will be safe and cheap. And it has to be a human system. We took a human-centered approach to this project, and we think the entire infrastructure has to be human-focused. We want to create Amazon, but for the daily commute. Something that's ubiquitous, speedy, centralized, safe, and trustworthy. This is our project, and you might be thinking that it's a little far out there, but self-driving cars are on the horizon, and we will be ready. Thank you so much for listening, and that's it.